Hello there, fellow Scorpios. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot forecast. This month we are looking at April. And so I'm excited. April showers bring May flowers. Weather's getting better. Whoop, whoop. Anyway, the first half of this reading is going to be April the 1st through the 15th. Second half is going to be April 16th through the 31st. Let's just jump right in. We're going to start with the environment. And the environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So for most of us, it's home, but not always. So you want to kind of keep your mind open to where it might be that I'm talking about when I look at these cards for us. So what do we have? What do we have? What do we have? All right, so April the 1st through the 15th, it does look like we are sharing our environment with somebody who is very nurturing, very encouraging, very uplifting, somebody who is a strong friend, basically, a loyal friend, I would say. And it looks like we're really dedicated to this person. There is something going on in the environment, though. I'm just trying to see how this fits because we've got two really neat cards here. And then we've got another card that talks about, oh. So I think what's going on here is we do have this one person in our environment, but we also have friends that are more at a distance. So not necessarily in our environment, but I think that while we are in this environment, even sharing it with this other person who is a great friend to have, I think that we're also communicating with somebody who could be more distant from us, who could be further away. And so I think that there are some people who are further away who are playing they're impacting us even in an environment where they are not. Okay? That's interesting. Now, you would think that would have come up a lot of times over this past year with the pandemic. That's the first time I've seen that show up. Cool. Cool. All right, let's look next at subconscious leanings for us Scorpios. All right, so it looks like we have something on our mind about some type of long-term contract or long-term commitment. And I think that we're really evaluating something around the idea of long-term contract or commitments and what we actually want out of those and with those. I think our head is telling us one thing is appropriate and our heart is telling us something else is appropriate. And that has us a little bit off balance as we're thinking about this. And so I think that's why our subconscious is really focusing in on this to try to get a nice clear picture for ourselves of what it is that we actually want from a long-term contract. Where would we want a long-term contract in our life? What would we want that to look like? What would we be willing to do to have that? All of those issues are kind of swirling around in our subconscious right now. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about our learning style and also our communication style. So learning style, we are definitely, I think that we are seeing some things. Yeah, I think that we are seeing some things in a new light. And I think that these are things that we're already very familiar with, but it's almost like we're seeing them again for the first time, or we're seeing them in a different perspective than we saw them before. I also feel like there's something that we are working on really finding out the truth about. And I think even as we're working around finding that truth, there could be some confusion about exactly what is the truth. For a lot of us, this is going to be learning through shadow work, where the truth is coming in and maybe we're seeing some of that truth that we're seeing. We're not so thrilled about. It normally stays in the shadows, but now we're getting into a depth of shadow work where the shadows are really coming up for us to examine them and look at them and figure out what do we want to do with these. And I think we're getting enough to the point where the shadows could be convincing us that they're true and good and wholesome, when we know that shadows innately bring illusion and toxicity even. So this is, I think that as we're learning, I think we are really coming to a critical part of self-awareness during this time frame. What else do we have here? I don't think that we're scared about that, though. I don't think that we're too foolish to be scared about that. I think we respect that. But I do feel like we are confident that as we continue the journey forward, we will make progress and we will be just fine. Now, looking at communication style. I feel like there is a lot of communication that we're sending out to the world, Scorpios. And this to me is not so much about personal communication. This is about like some kind of maybe business newsletter, or maybe it's not even a business newsletter, but it's something that is going out to a large segment of the world, to, not just something that you're talking about to somebody who's in your inner circle. Because we all know, as Scorpios, we have tiny inner circles. But this is information that's going out to a lot of people. So newsletters, YouTubes, podcasts, things like this, things where you're communicating with lots of people, maybe client blasts on emails, things like that. And I think that this communication that's going out does talk about stability and does talk about growth in one way or another, whether it's for you or whether it's for your client or the other person on the other end of the email or whatever, video, whatever that is. Okay, let's look at other communication. I do feel like we're doing some meditation here and communicating with the divine during this time frame, Scorpios, so definitely very in touch with spirit realm. And I think that a lot of us are interacting with nature or science. Usually I don't put nature or science together in that same box in my brain, but this time Spirit's really kind of nudging that combination. So spending some time in nature and working in science, to me, I find this really grounding. I think that this is something that helps us to have, that brings us back to earth, that keeps us from just floating away on those dreams of tomorrow or memories of yesterday. Just really looking at the here and now and what do we know and what can we experience here and now. So that's actually part of our communication style. And I think that's coming up because for a lot of us, it's self-care. And I think that there may be some communication with others. We may be getting out into nature or digging deeper into science with other people as well. Alrighty, my dears. Next thing what we're looking at is work. La da 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 la da 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 da. Work for Scorpio for first part of April. I'm liking it, okay? I think we're doing things a little bit differently than usual. We're looking at new solutions to things that have come up that need to be addressed. And I think we're finding some of those solutions. Things are going along very well. We've got the Wheel of Fortune, which just talks about things really turning in our favor. So work is going well. Morning, noon, and night is what I'm hearing. So we may be really, really busy. And then my next card really kind of accentuates the busy part. It basically says that work is very interesting right now. It's the opposite of boring. It's interesting. It's fascinating. It's intriguing. It's exciting. So I think that we're going to be really enjoying our work and maybe even enamored by our work during this time frame from the 1st through the 15th of April. I think it's going to have I think our work is going to be filled with energy and excitement. and overcoming challenges. All right, so next thing that we're looking at, Scorpios, talks to me about that part of our personality which is being grown or expanded right now. That's interesting. Okay, so Scorpios, I think that a lot of us, and let's face it, we're Scorpios. Pluto is our ruling planet. So a lot of us, by the time we get to a certain age, which many times is much younger than somebody else, we have already lost somebody significant in our lives. And I think what I see here on the table is where a lot of us have lost somebody significant in our lives, somebody that we were partnered up with, maybe even a romantic partner, maybe a good friend, maybe a business partner, maybe even a parent. But there's somebody significant that we have lost in the past. And I think that we're going to be hearing from that person. They're going to be communicating with us from the other side, from spirit realm, during this time frame. And I think that we're going to be, because of this communication from the other side, I think we're going to start evaluating our life and what we're doing in our life, what we've done so far, and what do we want to do in our life before we cross over into spirit realm. I don't think it's like the Scrooge and the three spirits that visit. I think we're just going to have experiences that let us know that we're hearing from those people who are dear to us, who have already crossed over. And it is, like I said, it's going to spark those thoughts about, what am I doing with this gift called life? Where am I going with it? What have I done so far with it? Am I proud of my impact so far? What do I do next? Those types of questions are going to come out of this. For those of you who are Scorpio, who are watching this, who you don't know somebody significant who's crossed over already, I think you're still going to end up in the same sort of thought processes. What am I doing with my life? I think that there will be something where you'll hear about somebody who has crossed over, and I think it'll be a little bit jarring. It'll sort of nudge you into that, oh, wait, tomorrow isn't guaranteed. What am I doing with my today? That type of thing, okay? All right, so let's move on from there. And no, I don't feel like it's a death that's imminent. I feel like it's one that's in the past. La, da, 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 da. Next thing that we're looking at does talk to me about those things that we stand for. We could stand for them quite assertively. Mars influences this position in my spread. So we're going to look at those things that we stand for, which means somebody is going to come to us and ask us for explanation, or maybe even confront us about a situation, and we're going to have to explain it or stand up for it literally. So we're going to look at what this is that we're standing for. We're also going to look at how does that other person feel after this conversation that we have with them. Okay. So what are we standing for? Well, we're standing for the idea that we have gotten through the worst part of grief. We have gotten through the worst part of a sadness over something, that we are not still in the throes or still in the pit with that. And this doesn't have to be grief for a person, although it could be, especially with what we had showing up just prior. But this could be sadness about a job. This could be about the way the pandemic's being handled. This could be anything, okay? But something that we have felt some definite, serious heaviness about. Now we're coming to a point where we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're starting to see the daylight. And it looks to me like, even though we're starting to see the daylight, it's almost like, but that doesn't change anything. And I think that's part of our realization, is that we can see the light of day, without anything actually changing. We have control of our thoughts. We can choose what we think, whether our circumstances around us are changing or not. Okay? And I feel like we're still not happy with the situation that happened that made us feel so heavy and blue and sad. We're still not happy with that situation. But I think that we are learning to take control of our thoughts. We're learning to take control of our actions. We're learning that we are in charge of us. And we're tired of feeling heavy. We're ready to move forward. We're ready to lift. We're ready to be more light. We're ready to be more useful to the world. And so even though nothing has changed, we're still changing our thoughts. We're changing our perspective. We're changing how we look at this. We're still not happy about it, but we're finding that silver lining and we're focusing on that. Okay? Now, how the other person sees us after we've talked about this situation, they see us as somebody who tries to be fair no matter what. They see us as somebody who could potentially throw a big pity party fit, but we don't. They see us as trying to move forward in a good, healthy, even-keeled, grounded way. And I think that this person actually really, they love us for it. They love us for it. And I think they also feel like we've been at the mercy of somebody who did not treat us well in the past. And because we were at the mercy of that person who did not treat us well in the past, we've actually gotten to the point where we've developed our mental skills and our mental abilities to be able to think ourselves out of a negative situation and find joy even when we have to find the silver lining to find the joy. Okay? Well, that was heavy. That was deep. That's typical for us Scorpios. We have the deep reads. Don't even have to do an extended to go deep with a Scorpio. All right, let's look at our flex point. This is where our perspective starts to take on a different direction, and so things start going in a different direction in our lives. Flex point. Here we are in our own reading, coming up as the Queen of Vessels. Okay, so basically what I'm seeing here for our flex point is we are getting into our own mojo. We're feeling really good about who we are. We're very comfortable in our own skin. You know, we're somebody who loves to reach out and to be generous to other people and who loves to share emotions and share thoughts. We love to encourage. We love to lift up. We love to inspire. And so I see us just really doing our thing here. And as we're doing that, we're recovering from something before that made us feel less than secure. And we're setting a new foundation. We're setting a new foundation. Doesn't that sound like a Scorpio? Don't we do that? Every so many years, we have to have a reset. We have to set a new foundation. We have to start over somewhere. That's just us. We're doing our thing. We're doing our thing, and we're setting our new foundation. We're beginning on this new foundation now. All right, what's next? At the same time that that's happening, our self-esteem is coming up. We're finding that we are better leaders than we thought we were. Maybe we've actually been working on that. And I think that we're coming to the realization somehow. Somebody is letting us know from around us that our leadership skills have been developing. And we also have a situation where there is somebody who is trying to sort of come in and make our decisions for us. And, you know, we're not really that appreciative of that, especially now that our self-esteem is coming up. And I think that during this time frame, they're going to do something, and that's going to be the last time that we let them get away with making our decisions for us. Okay. Also going on at the same time, it looks like we are in some sort of sheltered situation here where we're being looked out for, so to speak. And I feel like as we are in that, I think there's something that comes up that wants us to bring something back from the past, whether it's a relationship or an activity. And I think that we are realizing that now is not the time. I don't think it's that we don't ever want to get back into this thing again, but I think we're realizing that now is not the time. We're setting up this new foundation. We're focused on this new foundation. Now is not the time to bring back something else and start making this foundation sort of totter a little bit. We want it to become more stable first. And I think that we're very clear with that as somebody approaches us with whatever that is that they want us to pick back up from the past. Now, next thing that we have coming up talks to me about where we are at the end of this particular time cycle. So 13th, 14th, 15th of the month. Looks to me like we've decided to go solo on something. So where maybe we were collaborating with somebody else, now we're realizing, you know what, I can actually handle that myself. I don't have to collaborate with somebody with that. I can handle all that responsibility. I think we're taking that responsibility back to ourselves so that, because I think we just feel like it's a little silly to have other people do things that we can actually do and that we know how to do pretty well. I do see also that we're in a little bit of a forced downtime. So a downtime that we didn't ask for, but we're not able to do everything that we would normally be able to do. So an example of that, say that you're somebody that works in a warehouse and your arm gets broke. Well, it's a little bit more challenging to put things into boxes when your arm is broke, depending especially how heavy they are. I had a client that was her situation one time and this card came up. I've been in a situation where this card came up for me and my computer went out and I wasn't able to do all the things I would normally be able to do. And so this is what this is. It's not time off that you've asked for, but it is downtime where you can't do everything that you would normally be able to do. And it's because of something that's not in your control. Okay. And then also I see us being very abundant. So we have this downtime. We're getting this new perspective during this downtime. And we are really abundant. We have plenty. So even though we have downtime, we still have plenty to get us through the downtime. And there is something that even during the downtime, we are managing to pull off and do that. You know, we were sharing the responsibilities with somebody else before, and now we're at the point of, you know what, I've got this. I've got this. And I'm hearing, and especially with this extra time right now, we feel like we've got that because we can focus on it more since we're not doing everything we would normally do. Okay? So thank you guys very much for being here. Thank you for the thumbs ups, the shares, and the likes. I'm going to go back for a few seconds and take a break. And when I come back, we'll look at the end of the month. And so I'll see you in a few seconds. Thank you for being here. Okay, Scorpios, now let's look at April 16th through the 31st. Does April have 31 days? I know March does. No, it does not. So the 16th through the 30th, excuse me. So let's look at our environment to start with. So environment. Remember, that's any place where we have energy or effort invested. Wow, this is interesting. It looks like any challenge that we might have had with our environment before is gone. We are really just loving our environment, enjoying it, feeling nurtured, uplifted, empowered by it, really feeling good in our environment. I love it, I love it, I love it. I'm happy to see that because I'm going to be moving just before the beginning of April. So nice to see things will be leveling out and going good by the middle. All right, let's look at subconscious leanings during that time frame. Subconscious leanings. Okay, so this does talk about the idea of people that we have, you know, kind of drifted away from, that we've split off from, that we're no longer in contact with on a regular basis anymore. And it looks like there is someone that is this us? I think there's something going on behind the scenes that Oh, we're working kind of on the download to make sure that that drifting doesn't keep going. We want to still stay in touch with these people. So I think that we're doing some sort of behind the scenes type of work to make sure that, we still are able to stay in touch with these people. We're not, doing anything really fancy or glamorous or whatever, but just a phone call here, a text message there, that type of thing, just to make sure that these relationships keep going in a positive direction. And so that's what's on our subconscious mind, is working out really just how to do that. Next thing we have is learning style and also communication style. Definitely we're learning alchemy. We're diving in deep from the looks of this. And we're also learning about the idea that everything has a time and how important timing is in whatever we do. And I think that we are spending a lot of time with friends and learning things through communicating and interacting with friends as well. Now, on to communication. I do see a lot of communication going between us and between the divine. So talking to the divine about, just talking to the divine. You guys can figure that out. I think that we are also definitely sharing our spiritual practices with other people. We may be leading in, some kind of drum ceremony or sweat lodge, or I don't even know what else maybe, but definitely sharing our spiritual practices. In my case, it could be like a sweat lodge or a drum ceremony, but it also could be something like reiki as well. And that may be true for some of the others of you out there, right? Some of your reiki things or shamanism or anything else that is spiritually connected that you're able to share with other people and help them benefit. And once again, we have friends coming up, enjoying company of friends. And this can be old friends or this can be new friends. Either way, just really enjoying company of the people that are around us that are part of our support network. Okay, so looking next at work. There is definitely something to be celebrated at work. So that's really nice to see. I think also we're going to be really dedicated to the work that we're doing. And there may be some kind of goal or target at work that we are calling on the divine to help us with, or asking the divine to help us to accomplish. La, da, 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 da. Not meaning that we're not doing anything to make this happen, but that we are just asking for the extra backup from the divine. I like it. All right, so the next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about that part of our personality in which we are growing or expanding. Okay, so fellow Scorpios, we have our business caps on during this time frame, it looks like, and we are continuing something that we've already begun, but we are branching out and we're doing something different. We're adding on to what we've already done, or possibly returning what we've already started into another direction. There is something new about this, but there's also this idea that whatever this is, and it is business-wise, I feel like it's business-wise for us, whatever this is, it's something that we have been doing for a while, but there's some new aspect to it. So maybe we're adding in a service or a product, or maybe we're taking a service in a little bit of a different direction than it used to be before. So I like it, I like it, I like it. I like it because that's growth and expansion there. Yep, and we are paying attention to the business side of things as we do that. Taking care of business, that's what we're doing. All right. Next thing that we're looking at, Scorpios, talks to me about those things that we stand for, and then how the person that we stood for this thing to feels about this and feels about us after we've done it. Okay, so what are we stand for here? Okay, so it looks like there was a situation where we blew the budget. We spent more than we had coming in. And it looks like, how does this go? How does this go? For some of us, we're buying readings, spent a lot of money buying readings that we probably shouldn't have. And we're doing this actually to help us make a logical decision about something. So for some of us, we're spending money buying readings. For some of us, we're spending money paying for detective services, paying somebody else to do some research for us, paying for somebody to give us some type of spiritual assistance, reiki readings, whatever. And we're doing this because we want to make a logical decision about something. So we may be doing this just to check out, are these services for real? Do they really help? And then trying to make a logical decision about, do we want to incorporate them more often? Or how do we make more money to be able to incorporate them more often even? And then how the other person feels as we've had the discussion about this is they see us as being at a point of deciding, okay, are we keeping everything status quo or are we making some changes and doing something that we really don't know about just yet? They see us as wanting to set a firm and stable foundation. So whatever money that we're spending here, after we make our explanation, they're seeing that we are doing this to set the foundation in a good way. But they're also seeing us as not having handled that in the most responsible way possible. And they might be right about that. That might be something that we want to take a little bit slower in a more responsible way. So when that energy comes in, we can always, definitely try to be aware of that. Okay. Now, let's look at the flex point during this time frame. So what we have coming up here, wow. Wow. This is interesting. I think we're manifesting in hyperdrive when we get into the flex point. I mean, I have never seen, until today, I have never seen basically what would be the emperor and the empress come up right next to each other in a spread and talking about, a flex point for somebody. And we've got it. I think that was us that got it last time too. We've got it twice. This tells me that we're really firing on all cylinders in our manifestation process at this point. This means that we have the masculine energy and the feminine energy working together hand in hand to put together those manifestations that we have been working on. Really, alchemically, we are fired up. I mean, we are doing fantastic. And we're also finding time to rest and rejuvenate and to give ourselves some time to balance and to think things through and to look at new perspectives so that we can go forward fine-tuned and tweaked and manifesting again in a way that's really, really good. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I almost want to take a picture of those 3 cards. That's amazing. All right, let's look at what else is going on at the same time. This is interesting. We're still showing up as being in a sheltered position. Things aren't going totally perfectly around us. We've got the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Things could be going kind of in a yucky way. And that's interesting because we're manifesting like gangbusters here. So if we're manifesting like this, things aren't going for us in a good way, then we are really overcoming some obstacles and doing well in spite of the idea that things aren't going our way. So we may have some disappointments that are coming along here, but it looks to me like we're looking at those disappointments and we're just kind of shrugging them off and we're going, okay, well, here's another opportunity here. I'm going to focus on that. That has just been sitting there waiting for me to get to it anyway. So now I'm going to focus my attention over here and work on that. We do come up again, like I said, in a very sheltered position during this time. And I think that we are learning new things during this time as well. So really good stuff happening here. Really good stuff. I'm not sure we're even going to notice that Wheel of Fortune not moving in our direction because we've got so much good stuff happening in spite of it. Also, what is going on at the same time, we are finding somebody to collaborate with. And I think that this is an equal collaboration where this person or this group or this company, whatever, it's a fair give and take for this collaboration that's coming up here. And this is a collaboration that's taking some stress off of us, taking some strain off of us. So we are not feeling like we have to have all the stress of doing everything on whatever this collaboration is. And it's giving us a sense of relief. All right, where do we see us at the end of April, Scorpio? I'm all fired up and happy now. Where do we see ourselves at the end of April? We have something going on here that we're feeling sad about. I'm not sure what that could possibly be, but we do have something that we're feeling sad about. And at the same time, I feel like our home and our family life is really good. So whatever this is outside of home and family life that we're feeling sad about. We already saw business is going gangbusters. So to me, this talks about that, we've got a friend that's going through something and we're helping them to shoulder that burden, basically. And I think that friend is really sad. And it may be that what we're doing, because remember, we just recently came out of a sadness. I think that what we're doing is we're offering our help to help this person to be encouraged to come through this to the other side. And we also do find ourselves very much in a leadership position with a lot of respect from our peers. By the time we get to the end of this month, other people are coming to us to ask us advice on how do we do this, or, what's the best way to handle that type of thing. Just because they respect who we are in our industries and the quality of work that we do in the industries and the impact that we have on the people around us. Okay? We have a really good reading, Scorpios. I'm liking it. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate all the thumbs ups and the shares. Of course, I appreciate those of you who are getting free. Well, you can get the free readings with the daily Reiki and questions with Amista. But I do also appreciate those of you who are getting the private readings and the private Reiki sessions. And so I hope you all have a wonderful, fantastic, thrilling, and yet peaceful month. And I will see you guys back here on the next video. Peace out.